You're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Officers initiated a traffic stop after observing the defendant cross several lanes while failing to signal and almost causing a collision. Upon contact, the officers observed an odor of marijuana. The officers asked the defendant to step out of the vehicle and asked whether the defendant had marijuana inside. The defendant admitted he did have marijuana inside, as well as a firearm. During the search of the vehicle, the officers found a handgun in plain view on the driver's side floorboard, not in holster. And the officers also located 13 grams of marijuana under the passenger seat.
Got it. All right, Mr. Flores, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license? Do you not?
I have a SR22 in place. My license was suspended.
Okay, you're not allowed to drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If I find that you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. It's possible you face another 6 months in jail. I'm going to have you sign an affidavit with me today, promising you that you're not going to drive. Do you have liability insurance in your name? Car insurance?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't want you driving until you have a Texas driver license. You need to call DPS, figure out what to do to get your license. I'm going to give you the phone number now, but it's time for you to get your license back. And when you show me that you have your license and that you have car insurance, I will happily allow you to drive. But until that point, do not drive. I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to be in possession of any weapons as well. Do you understand? This is a condition of your bond. If I find that you have a weapon, I'm going to revoke your bond. I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir. So I'm not allowed to retrieve my weapon back?
I'm ordering you now, while this case is open, not to have any weapons.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here, Stephen, do you mind giving this to me, please? This is the number to the driver's license division to DPS. You need to call them in the morning to figure out what you need to do to get your license back. Give them your license number and ask them what you need to do to get your license back.
Okay.
Once you do, I'll tell you, I'll take this off, you know?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to apply for an appointed lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I need you to fill out an application for me. I'll take a look at it. And then assuming you qualify, I'll give you a lawyer today. I'm going to have you sign this agreement with me today that you're not going to drive. And I want you to understand, Mr. Flores, I take this so serious. Don't drive. If you drove here, you can't drive home.
No, I didn't drive here. My father did.
All right. So I'll have you come up here, swear to us. May I have you go to Jamae, sign a reset, and then we'll have you fill out the application. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Bringing a shared code book at the moment. We may have to have you look at a couple interesting things.
Okay.
And this is on the Trevor Flores case, Judge, and I think you visited with that gentleman earlier. He's present here in the courtroom at the moment.
Okay.
But I got the case this morning. I've had a chance to do a kind of little bit of digging into. Yes.
This is where everything starts to get interesting. The lawyer isn't arguing about what was found inside the car. He's questioning whether the traffic stop should have happened in the first place. Pay close attention, because one legal detail could change the entire case.
And although we are still waiting for the bulk of discovery in the case, he's charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon following a traffic stop. And I've got a map that is kind of intriguing. I think you'll find just with the way it's drawn. But he stopped by an officer with the City of Bel Air Police Department. And may I approach to just show you this delineation? But this is, but he's pulled over going.
I know the area well.
Northbound. He's pulled over going northbound on 610 as he, what is described as makes an unsafe lane change. So he's northbound on 610, wants to get on 59 to go southbound, is erroneously in the wrong lane going northbound. The officer says that she is observed him, makes that unsafe lane change, and that lane change is outside of the City of Bel Air Police Department jurisdiction. Now, we have a particular statute that governs whether officers can have the authority to make a detention of someone when they are outside of their jurisdiction. And that's 14.03 of
Their
the.
PD can still stop someone outside of Bel Air.
Well, not for, well, according to the code, it says a peace officer.
That would mean that any officer outside would never be able to do anything.
No, that's incorrect. There's a very limited exception, and that's what applies in this case. So it says a peace officer who's licensed and is outside of the officer's jurisdiction may arrest without a warrant a person who commits any offense within the officer's presence or view, other than a violation of subtitle C, Title 7 of the Transportation Code. So generally, any offense that an officer sees, he can arrest that person or detain them, as the way the code uses that term, arrest. He can detain that person. But when it's for a traffic offense, that officer is
He's not
required.
arresting him for a traffic offense, though.
Well, that was the basis for the stop.
Sure.
And but the way the code contemplates arrest, it's any, and that's defined in, I think, in chapter 15. But arrest, as contemplated by the code, includes detention. And so this officer doesn't have the ability, where that stop takes place, to make that detention. That officer could detain him if he saw him committing theft, could detain him if he saw him committing an assault, can't for a transportation
So,
code
but
violation.
he stops him for whatever reason it is, right? Comes up to the car and he smells marijuana,
Yes.
right?
Well,
And
that's
then
what-
don't they even get a drug sniffing dog? Is this the one where they get a drug sniffing dog and they find the weed and,
No, Your Honor, that's it.
was that a different case?
No, it's a different case, Judge, but the handgun, I believe, was in.
It was in plain view.
No, I think it, well, so I think what's alleged is it's in conjunction with possession of marijuana. And for purposes of just this limited PC question, not, my focus is solely the detention. I'm not.
It's certainly crafty. It's great. But he's not arresting him for the traffic offense.
Well, but I think we're looking at a limited scope of what arrest means. So I think you're looking at arrest as in
So
being
you
arrested.
would be saying that really if he had committed an ag rob, right? Or
Well,
kidnapping, then even if he had kidnapped, like let's say he had a 2-year-old child in the car that he had kidnapped across state lines. Well, then according to this, because he's in a different jurisdiction, then he couldn't arrest him on that kidnapping charge
Well,
too.
He saw a kidnapping taking place. The officer could arrest him by under that code. But what he can't do is when there's a traffic code violation, we don't allow for example, the El Paso Police Department to come to Houston and then sit on the street corner and arrest people for traffic violations. We don't allow them to make those stops. And that's what's at issue here is a peace officer who's outside of his jurisdiction able to enforce the traffic
I
code.
know where you're going and I've seen it before, but I'm not.
And we're looking at G1.
Where exactly did it occur anyways?
Let me see if I can pull up
So I
the
think-
address. We don't have like any discovery in
Sure.
this case. I don't have any dash cam or anything like that.
So what it says in there is 5600 610 northbound. And what's so curious about this is
Is that still in Bel Air? Is it
no,
outside of
that
Bel
would be
Air?
outside of Bel Air too. And going northbound, southbound lanes are covered in the city of Bel Air. The northbound lanes, for some reason, are not.
I don't know. We'd have to look closer. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
mean,
happy to
it's
look
something
further
that
into this.
You have to look. I mean, I can't make that determination now.
Fair enough.
Number two,
Yes.
he's not arresting him on a traffic offense.
Well, and I think what the code contemplates when it says arrest, and I think there's case law on this, is that it includes the concept of detention as that's been, because I think when that code was written.
And so what I'm saying would apply as well, though. Like if he catches a 2-year-old kid, right, that's been kidnapped, by your theory, he wouldn't be able to arrest him on a kidnapping charge too.
Well, it's not my theory, it's the code.
If he has a dead body in the car, he wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, that's a legislature question. And I mean, but they wrote that.
I can't imagine that the legislature intended that. I think that they intended for a traffic, let's say for speeding, right? Or your tail light is out. Yeah, not to arrest in that respect. But he goes up to the car, smells marijuana, sees a gun in plain view. I can't imagine the legislature intended in that purpose.
And my position, of course, is that, this may be for a motion to suppress later down the line, and I think there's still
But
plenty more to do in the
it's a
case.
freaking awesome argument.
Well, but the idea
I love you.
is
Mr. You're wonderful.
no right to
Great.
detain him.
Right? Really?
I appreciate the judging. We'll get it.
I'm not ready yet,
Yeah.
but build it. If you build it, they will come. And then we'll take a look down the road and yeah.
Thank you, Judge.
For too fast for conditions, as well as failure to yield to emergency vehicle. These are civil infractions, Mr. Webb. You have a choice of what to do on them. You can, 1, admit responsibility to a citation, or 2, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why this happened. Or 3, you wish to contest the citation, in other words, to fight a ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
I would like to contest this ticket.
Both?
Both of
Moving
them. Yes.
violations? All right. Then, even though I cannot see you, I'd ask you to raise your right hand, same way the deputy's going to raise his right hand. You swear or affirm any testimony that you'd give here today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Webb, it makes a lot more sense for me to start with the deputy. He has the burden to establish to me why you were issued these citations in the first place. But then after that, you'll have an opportunity to either ask questions or testify on your own behalf. All right?
Okay.
And with that, deputy, you want to pick up the narrative somewhere it makes sense? Explain the issuing of this citation.
Conducting routine patrol in Watson Township. I was traveling westbound on 116th Avenue. I observed the defendant's vehicle driving directly ahead of me. While driving behind that vehicle, I paced it at 58 miles per hour for approximately 3 miles. Upon activation of my emergency lights, the vehicle continued driving for approximately a quarter mile before turning left onto 19th Street and coming to a stop. At that point, I made contact with the defendant, explained the reason of the stop, and issued the citation.
All right, Mr. Webb, what is it you wish to tell me?
I guess I'll just tell my story. I was on my way back from school because I forgot that it was spring break. When I got onto 222, I saw Mr. Kibbe sitting in like the little construction area across from the gas station. That's when I decided to flip him off. This obviously made Mr. Kibbe upset, prompting him to pull out behind me and begin following me for a few miles until I reached a downslope. I had my cruise control set at 57. So as soon as I hit that bottom of that downslope, my car accelerated a little bit, supposedly 1 mile an hour. And this is when Mr. Kibbe turned on his lights, and it was very obvious that he was targeting me. So I instantly, right away, started slowing down and decided that turning off to the left was going to be my best case scenario because it was going to put Officer Kibbe out of the main road, which I know is one of the leading causes of death for officers.
And, Deputy, what is the speed limit on this road?
55 miles per hour.
All right. So the too fast for conditions is the 58?
Correct.
And failure to yield to emergency vehicle is the driving for a quarter mile before he pulled over?
Correct. Your Honor, my understanding of the failing to yield for an emergency vehicle moving is that they have to pull immediately to the parallel to the road they're currently on. And in the event that I was heading to an emergency, he would have been impeding me by turning left across both lanes where I couldn't pass him.
Okay. Gentlemen, Mr. Webb, you know how dumb it is to needlessly upset law enforcement, right?
Yes, I know that.
Because they have certain powers that they can exercise over your life and make your life difficult. It was a dumb thing to do.
Yes, and I have
All right.
stopped since then.
All right. Here's the problem. Violation of basic speed law, too fast for conditions, is essentially, that's the wrong citation. You could have wrote him a citation for 1 to 5 over, and that's what he'd be looking at. But the violation of basic speed law is essentially when you have a slide off or something like that, you were going too fast for conditions. And that having the accident is the prima facie evidence that you should have been driving slower to sort of, avoid that happening, as opposed to just essentially a speeding ticket, meaning nothing happened with your vehicle, but a moving violation that you were in fact going faster than posted speed limit. So this could have been a faster than posted speed limit ticket, but the way it's written, a violation of basic speed law, we reserve that for a failure to maintain to your vehicle to stop a clear and assured distance before you hit something else or before you leave the roadway. The other problem is the failure to yield to emergency vehicle is this. Once an officer is trying to pull you over and it's obvious to you or reasonable to an objective person that the officer is trying to pull them over, i.e. lights and sirens, and there's nobody else but you, then you know that they're trying to pull you over. The issue with that is you do have the right to, now I'll tell you right now, if you just speed up and drive away, this turns very quickly into what's called fleeing and eluding, which is a felony crime. Right? But if the officer's trying to pull you over, you are able to drive to a place that you feel is more conducive to a safe stop. A lot of time what that means is, oh, it was late at night, it's a country road in the middle of nowhere, and I know there's a gas station, a quarter mile up the road, so I, put my blinkers on, or I drove 35 miles an hour, but I drove all the way to the gas station because I'd rather have this interaction take place in the lighted parking lot, or something like what Mr. Webb is explaining, that, 222 is a lot busier than, say, pulling off to a lesser used road. So provided the fact that you only went a quarter mile is the sort of saving grace here, and that you did pull over, but the way that you explained it, there is what I would say a grace period there for pulling over, as long as what you're doing is pulling over to what you consider to be a safer, either for you or for the officer. The way you articulated it, really, you articulated it for the officer, but it's allowed to be for your safety. But that is not necessarily what this statute, failure to yield to emergency vehicle, is written for. I wouldn't find either of these two actions to be violations of the statutes that you were written for. But like I said, gentlemen, it's pretty clear here, Mr. Webb, what you did. You used really bad judgment that normally is going to end up costing you money, right? And costing you points on your driver's license, because it's just a dumb thing to do. Don't do it again.
Okay.
All right. But I would not find you responsible on these citations as they're written. We're all set with this today, gentlemen. So
all right. Thank
go
you.
our separate ways and think twice about how we carry ourselves in the world. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And just like that, the hearing came to an end. What made this case so interesting wasn't just the final decision, it was how carefully the judge looked at the exact law instead of making assumptions. Small details can completely change the outcome of a courtroom case, and today was a perfect example of that. The judge made it clear that poor decisions can still have consequences, even when the written citation doesn't match the law. It's a reminder that every case depends on the facts, the evidence, and how the law is applied. Now I want to hear from you. Do you agree with the judge's decision, or do you think the officer's citations should have been upheld? Share your opinion in the comments below. And if you enjoy real courtroom stories explained in a simple way, subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next courtroom case.